All right, this is video number 4. This is our last video in this series. Thank you again for all your questions, those of you that sent them in. We'll jump right into it. James Hong at James Ho 117874009 asks, what percentage, if any, of the crypto mined is retained by Argo? In other words, are you selling all your Argo mined to cover expenses? Thanks. Thanks for the question, James. I actually answered this kind of partly in our last video. We do obviously sell cryptocurrency to pay for our operating costs. And in terms of what percentage, it really depends on the month. It depends on our cash flow at the time. But you have a sense of our mining margins. You know, we put out our mining margins for the first 10 days of January recently. They were above 70%. So we are able to retain a significant portion of Bitcoin on a monthly basis. And that's something that obviously we want to do. We want to try to build our Bitcoin reserves or Bitcoin hodl as much as we can. Next question. Edward McIntyre. Edward asks, what is your current enterprise asset management solution for the hardware and infrastructure, and which CMMS do you use? You currently only have 8 employees, so how is the maintenance managed? Is it subcontracted out to third-party technicians? So we actually don't talk publicly about what our internal optimization and management systems are for the machines. We have a number in place. They work really well. Some of them are custom. Some of them we've kind of worked with partners to develop. But that's been obviously a big part of what we do, is making sure the machines are running as effectively and are optimized the best ways they can, and also to monitor. Anytime you have 16,000 machines, machines are going to go down. What happens when we do? How do we make sure that we have as much uptime as possible? And that's what our technology team is really good at. In terms of our subcontracting to third parties, at our hosting facilities, there are technicians on site, and when there's an issue with the machines, those technicians are notified. In some cases, their own software tells them that there's a problem, but in many cases, it's us that are saying, okay, there's an issue here. Can you go check this out? Can you check that out? We do have, as many of you know, an LOI in place with GPU One to purchase 2 of their facilities in Quebec, one in Mirabel, one in Baie-Comeau. And if and when that deal closes, then we would have our own technicians on site. Technicians that we're already working with, but then they essentially would become our employees as opposed to employees of GPU One. Lastly, do you have any plans to invest in renewables to become carbon neutral? It would be a great CapEx investment to reduce costs and make Argo way more ESG, could be a USP compared to your tricky competitors. A lot of acronyms, Edward, in that question, but it's a good question. So we have not announced any plans to become carbon neutral. We do recognize that the energy usage for cryptocurrency miners is high and is an issue, and we are conscious of the fact that whenever possible we want to be using green technologies. In terms of announcements about what we may or may not do in the future, again, we haven't made any, but it's definitely something that's on our radar, and something we're thinking about on a weekly basis, I would say. But it's a good point. Thank you, Edward. And in fact, one of our board members, Marco, is very involved in ESG investing in Europe, and has some real expertise in this area. So it is something that's on the radar. Jay at JX2102 asks, can I have a job? We're getting a lot of actually people sending resumes in and interested in working with us, which is awesome. We have a small team, mostly in Canada, a little bit in Europe. Obviously, we have some partners in the US. We're not hiring at this time, but by all means, send your resume in and we'll take a look at it. And if there's a fit, you never know. Mick at Mick Marples asks, hi, Peter. Second question for me. If COVID restrictions permit, which venue event center will the company be hiring for this year's AGM? I very much doubt we'll all fit in the company's lawyer's office. Yes. So I don't know. We haven't decided yet. But we'll probably do it virtually given the current state of the world. We did one last year that was kind of a virtual version of it. would be interested, I know there's different platforms out there that are doing them virtually. So if you, as a shareholder, have engaged with one, please feel free to, put in the comments one of the platforms or one of the programs that you've used in the past, because obviously transparency and communications is important to us. So that we need to carry that over to our AGM process as well. Captain B, Captain at Capt Bickbeard, great Twitter handle. Would be great to hear Peter's thoughts on where he feels the market cap versus revenues will be in 12 months' time. So, given that we are cryptocurrency miners and our primary revenue is coming from cryptocurrency mining, it's difficult for us to project out 12 months from now what our exact revenues are going to be, because so much of it is affected by the price of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin mining level. That being said, we're super optimistic about 2021. We think that, a lot of the factors that I've been talking about in the second half of 2020 are going to carry over. So more institutions coming on, start using Bitcoin as an asset, holding Bitcoin as a treasury asset. You've seen a big uptake in retail interest, just in the last 2 weeks in 2021. I think that's going to drive things forward. I think there's a good chance there's going to be a country somewhere in the world that will have Bitcoin as will declare Bitcoin to be their national reserve currency, their home currency, and that will, or maybe not their home currency, but you know what I'm saying, their national reserve currency. And I think that will spur more interest in Bitcoin as well. So I think I can't give you an exact number where we're going to be on either market cap or revenues, but I see things. Yeah, I used to say in 2020, those of you that are long-term shareholders, I used to say I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm very optimistic now for 2021, given the state of affairs over the last few months. Fijezo at Golden Viper asks, what got you into Bitcoin and investing in it? So actually, I first was introduced to Bitcoin back in 2013. I opened a business in Indonesia, and it was a co-working space. There was all kinds of entrepreneurs from all over the world coming through the space, and there was a real hardcore group of cryptocurrency enthusiasts who held Bitcoin, who talked about Bitcoin, who had weekly meetings in our space about Bitcoin. We accepted Bitcoin payment back then, which was, I think we were the first place in Indonesia to accept payment in Bitcoin in 2013, 2014. I think we accepted 33 Bitcoin over the course of that period of time, which we changed into Indonesian rupiah to pay for our operating costs, which we were obviously getting paid in other currencies as well. But so I have a bit of a long history with Bitcoin. And I just think it's, I think it's a great technology for the 21st century. I've always been interested in technology and the intersection between technology and people and finance. And Bitcoin seems to really kind of weave those three things together in a good way. AIM Investor, ! At AIM Investor 4 asks, how high could Argo's market cap go within 1 year? Look, we try to focus on what we can control, which is our strategy, our operations. It's hard to predict what the market is going to say and how the market's going to respond. For much of 2020, or especially the early part of 2020, I said, I was saying that I think the market in the end is going to value us in a fair way, because I didn't think we were being valued in a fair way, especially when you compare us to some of our publicly minded compatriots out there. So it's hard to predict exactly where we're going to go, but like I said, we're extremely optimistic. I think our move into our OTCQB listing is really going to help drive more U.S. shareholders to be investing in our stock, and I think the sky's the limit. So we'll see how things move. So the next question is from Laws at Laws Junklist. Laws at Laws Junklist. Can people like me buy Bitcoin directly from your miners? The short answer is no. We used to have a mining as a service subscription program when we first launched, but we shuttered that in 2019. And so we just mine for our own account now. Next question is from Bulker, at Bulker2. Hi, I have only very recently invested in Argo and made great gains. My question is, is your company's success directly correlated to the price and success of BTC? So with that being said, what do you expect, in your opinion, the prospects of Argo and BTC for this year? So as I said, we're really optimistic about 2021. We think there's lots of kind of market forces that are pushing Bitcoin in a certain direction. And we've seen that, really over the last month accelerating. In terms of our prospects, I like where we are. I think we made some good decisions in 2020 that got us to the point we're at. I think we're hopefully going to be announcing some more good decisions soon, and we'll see how it all comes together. But yeah, like I said, I'm really optimistic for this year. Okay, last question from Stephen Clark at Stephen Clark 7. Favorite wine? Actually, Stephen, I'm more of a beer guy. I like a good Pilsner, a good lager. I'm not a huge wine drinker, but yeah, more beer, mostly drinking local beers from here in Canada. All right, thanks everyone. I appreciate all the questions, and we'll do this again soon. Feel free to leave any comments in the bottom if you've got suggestions for how we can make this better. And we'll probably do it again in a month or so, just depending on scheduling and timing and questions. Okay, thanks everyone.